fan of street-legal type drag racing, then this edition of Inside Drag Racing is for you. First, we'll go to the Edelbrock Pro NMCA Drag Racing Series at Martin, Michigan, followed by the NMRA Denso Series at Kansas City International Raceway. It's the wildest street machines on the planet today on Inside Drag Racing.
Second annual J.E. Pistons NMCA Hot Rod and Muscle Car Nationals at US 131 Motorsports Park. This event is the fourth stop of the 2005 NMCA Hot Rod and Muscle Car Nationals. Hi everybody, I'm Bill Stevens, and there is sweltering heat in the Midwest, and luckily this event is going to be held at night. Elimination starting at about 6 p.m. Everybody very happy about that, as temperatures in the 90s most of the weekend. But there's already been a lot of heat in qualifying in the Denso Pro Street category. Bradenton winner and points leader, Vinny Badano, Friday night rocks everybody's world as he goes 6:58, 1/100th of a second away from a new elapsed time record. However, a potential speed record. He's got to back it up. Did he do it? Did he ever? On Saturday, he goes faster, over 216 miles an hour, a new top speed record in the category. And here this weekend, he's got some high-priced help. Scott Shafferoff, his engine builder, in person to help him out. And Vinny's looking for big things in eliminations later on as he leads the points. But right now, let's go to our other event on Inside Drag Racing this weekend, to Brett Kepner, who's in Kansas City, Missouri.
Well, Bill, we're only a few miles southeast of Kansas City, Missouri at the second annual Aeromotive NMRA Ford Nationals presented by ProCharger and Metro Ford here at Kansas City International Raceway. This event is the fifth stop of the Denso Iridium Power Spark Plugs NMRA Ford Nationals Tour. And I got to tell you might remember at the beginning of the year, Bill, when we were at Martin, Michigan for the NMRA event where it snowed. Well, we've got exactly the opposite conditions here. About 3,500 feet above sea level corrected altitude, 94 degrees, 62% humidity, and a track temperature very seldom beneath 125 degrees. It is a brutal drag race. And as always, the spotlight has been shining on the MSD Super Street Outlaw Division, where we've seen some remarkable runs regardless of the weather conditions. As a matter of fact, the number 1 and 2 qualifiers have literally marched through this field, giving us a final round matchup that is going to be incredible. In the semis, the first pair pitted John Urist and Marty Chance, the second-generation racer of the Neil Chance Automatic Transmission and Converter Group. And Urist prevailed with a 781 at 185 miles per hour. But Manny Bajinga had earned the bye run into the final and showed that even with a hot track, he knows how to put the power down. 779 at 180.86 miles per hour. So right now, Manny Bajinga's crew is getting ready for the final round, and this is quite the grudge match, because 1 year ago at this event, in very similar conditions, Bajinga and Urist lined up in the semifinal round, and Urist won. Now Manny has a chance to get a little revenge. Bear in mind that this will be a Massachusetts versus New Mexico MSD Super Street Outlaw final here in Missouri.
Vehicles that have been prepared for awesome acceleration duty while still being legal for street use are known as street performers. Brought to you by Flowmaster, the exhaust technology company.
Hey, there's a great story behind our street performer this time, the 1955 Chevy that belongs to Eugene and Lori Bohannick of Grand Haven, Michigan. In 1999, Lori bought Eugene this car for his birthday because he was born in 1955. At the time, well, it was kind of like a Buckstown street machine that somebody had started but never really finished. And over the next 5 years, Eugene did every single ounce of work on this 1955 stove bolt. And I got to tell you, we see 55s all the time in our travels, and this has to be one of the most off-the-hook shoe boxes we've ever run into. I mean, I couldn't even begin to tell you all the work that he's put into it. I can tell you that it's a 454 big block punched out to 468, has a Richmond 6-speed transmission, beautiful glove soft leather interior, a little old, a little new on the inside. It's cutting edge but nostalgic at the same time. The car's been lowered, American racing mags all the way around, and plenty of laughing gas in the trunk, only when he really needs it. Congratulations to the Bohannicks on this fabulous 55, our street performer this time.
Inside Drag Racing is being brought to you by Summit Racing Equipment, the World Speed Shop. And by ARP, manufacturers of professional quality fasteners. And by Flowmaster, the exhaust technology company. We'll be back with more after this.
Welcome back, everybody, to Kansas City International Raceway, located just southeast of the actual Kansas City city limits, and indeed the NMRA Aeromotive Nationals. And I should point out that this event is sponsored by Aeromotive, which, by the way, is a relatively local company to the Kansas City area. And as in years past, this guy, NHRA sportsman stalwart Kyle Fickler, is manning the Aeromotive booth in the sweltering heat. But I have to ask about something that people have come up to us and asked about. They keep saying, have you seen the fuel pump over at the Aeromotive booth? What's the scoop?
Actually, it's quite a story. A guy out of Kentucky with an Impala SS put a stroker motor in the car as soon as he bought it, and he bolted on our A1000 pump. He sent us a letter a couple weeks ago, and the pump now has 125,000 street miles on it. 125,000 miles. Now, what's cool about the pump is it'll support 1,000 horsepower, too. So you got a component that'll go 1,000 horsepower, support 1,000 horsepower, go 125,000 street miles on a daily driver. That's pretty powerful testing.
It's better than any product testing you could have purchased from any outside source.
Well, and I love doing on-track R&D, but can you imagine how many quarter-mile passes I'd have to make to get to 125,000 miles?
Welcome back to the J.E. Pistons NMCA Hot Rod and Muscle Car Nationals here in Martin, Michigan. Standing by is Steve Johnson, Director of Motorsports for Edelbrock. We come to these races, we see the incredible times that the nitrous-equipped cars run, and Edelbrock has a lot of experience with these systems, don't they, Steve?
Yeah, that's one of our new products here in the past several years. I worked at NOS 8 years prior to coming to Edelbrock, and one of the main things I do at the races is support the product and work with racers like Mike, who have actually met at a PSCA race on the West Coast, and help them tune their cars, as well as install systems on their cars, flow their manifolds, and I mean, we can do it all from A to B.
So not only does somebody get over-the-counter help from Edelbrock when they go nitrous, but they have a guy like you standing by to help them get dialed in.
Right, that's a lot of the things I learned here, I share with our tech staff, and it trickles on down to our street guys. That's the whole, involvement in racing is not just to be out here with fast cars having fun at the races, it's to help and learn and develop your product to the next step.
Full service setup from Edelbrock, and now let's swing out to Kansas City and catch up with Brett Kepner.
Well, Bill, you'd be surprised at how many people come up and shake this guy's hand and ask serious questions. Everybody knows him, at least everybody that follows NMRA Denso drag racing. It's Mr. Denso, Mr. NMRA, the one and only Larry Geddes. And Larry, we often talk about weather conditions and how they affect the race car, but I got to tell you, it's summertime. If you haven't noticed yet, it's really hot and it's really humid.
We're dripping. Yeah, we're all dripping out here. We're high humidity and a lot of temperature. So,
what's the first thing that happens when the atmospheric conditions get like what we're dealing with here at 3,500 feet above sea level, at least to a spark plug? What's the first thing?
Oh, absolutely. Well, there's car's going to fall off, and we run into some serious problems.
And foul. I mean, it's running fat automatically unless there have been major changes made to the intake and the fuel system.
Right.
It's going to run with a larger percentage of fuel in the mixture and therefore stand more chance of fouling the plugs.
Yeah,
is there any way to get around that?
Just have a good plug-in. We're using the Iridium power plugs in this car, and here we go. This is 2.5 seasons on this set of plugs.
And you've never fouled one. You told me that before.
No. We pulled one. I pulled one out of the car yesterday for some guys who just had time and looked, and they're firing great.
And speaking of number one, you might remember a few weeks ago at the NMRA event in Maple Grove, Pennsylvania, there was a big shock that led to a great team being in the winner's circle, and we had a chance to meet him here in Kansas City. As a matter of fact, right over here. Now, chances are you've never seen this crew from this angle, but the white Mustang underneath all these guys is run by this man. And when I say run, I say Patrick Tablinski does the driving and the, I guess, crew chief duties of directing.
Yes, I direct. They do all the work. I just show them what's going on. They do everything on the car. I got the easy job. I just drive.
You know, I would look at the engine in a School of Automotive Machinist team car and expect to see all kinds of radical one-of-a-kind pieces. But when I look at this motor, at least for the top half, it's mostly Edelbrock stuff.
Yeah, we use a lot of Edelbrock stuff. They make a great product. Their cylinder heads, intake manifold, we use their quick data for all of our data acquisition. Helps us make more intelligent calls on the car. I can't say enough about them. They're very supportive of our series. They sponsor our class, as a matter of fact, so we really enjoy having them on board. We really love all their stuff that they have, and we have good luck with them, definitely.
Good luck for sure. Speaking of winners, let's go to this week's race report.
The Race Report, an update on championship sportsman racing action from across the nation. Brought to you by Lucas Oil Products, the world leader in heavy-duty and high-performance lubricants. This week's race report comes to you from the Jegs Northern Sports Nationals in Columbus, Ohio. We'll get things started right away at National Trail Raceway with the final in Comp Eliminator. Jeff Taylor, Lumberton, North Carolina, with his 2005 Grand Am, going against Wayne Henderson from Fishers, Indiana, with his Aacana dragster. Boy, look at the lead Jeff Taylor had right there. Here comes the digger. Can Henderson track him down? No. Jeff Taylor, 903, 124. Dead on his dial in. Now we switch over to Super Gas, the 990 guys. Paul Brown, Cass City, Michigan, 1968 Dart against Dale Bernard, Meadville, Pennsylvania, with a 1934 Chevy. How cool is this? The win is going to go to Paul Brown from Cass City, Michigan. Beautiful 991 with a 140 mile an hour. Of course, they run on that 990 index. Moving back around to the class guys now. Super Stock Eliminator. Peter Biondo, Maspeth, New York, 2000 Firebird, going against James Bester from Carlisle, Indiana, 69 Camaro. Super Stock C Automatic. Biondo, his millionth win. Well, not really, but he has a bunch of them. Picks up the victory, 1034, 121 miles per hour. Now in Stock Eliminator, guess what? It's Peter Biondo again. 69 Camaro C Stock Automatic against Jim Bordeaux from Massachusetts, who turns on the red light, hands it to Biondo. 2 Eliminator wins in one event. Biondo, 12:15, 80 miles per hour. Now we move to Super Comp Eliminator. The 890 guys, Brian Shockley, Lebanon, Indiana, going against Mike Coughlin from Delaware, Ohio. Yep, he's one of the Jegs brothers. But dial in for these guys, of course, 890. Take a look at Shockley. Runs it through 890 with a 2, 153. Defeats Mike's 890 with a 9. What a close drag race that was. Now in Super Street, the 1090 full body guys, Michael Crick from Nortonville, Kentucky, 1970 Plymouth Duster against Raymond Fordyce III from Williamstown, New Jersey, 1987 Camaro. Remember, they're dialed in at 1090. Crick dead on with a 7, 132 miles per hour. Beats Fordyce's 1093, and that's this week's race report. We'll take a break. When we come back, finals time up in Michigan, and Butchie will have a question.
Welcome back to Martin, Michigan. Hey, the Best of Show winner, the Stuff Car Care Best of Show winner, was the outrageous 1955 Chevy of Eugene and Lori Bohanik of Grand Haven, Michigan. What a ride. Now let's go to Ted for all the final rounds.
All right, thank you very much, Bill. Stevens on the line now. Nostalgia Muscle Car, sponsored by DTS Parts. It's going to be Jim Barr. Dialed in on a 1050, going against Thomas Douglas, dialed in on an 1150. Take a look for yourself, folks. Best reaction time went to Douglas. Not enough, though, to beat Barr, who runs a 1051 with a 526 miles per hour. BF Goodrich Tire, Mean Street. Gabe Large will go against Paul Petty. Take a look at the wheel stand right off the starting line for Gabe Large. Wow. Did he make a statement? Will that cost him on top end? He had the best reaction time. No, sir. 1078, 122 miles per hour. Beats out Petty's 11 flat at 122.
No breakout. No hit.
Now, here we go. CarCraft Magazine Street Race. Jay Canella would face Brian Meyer. Identical 5:34 reaction times. Canella picks up the victory, 9:58, 141 miles per hour. Beats out the 984 by Brian Meyer. Now we move on to TCI Fast Pro Stock. Jamie Stanton would face Butch Kemp. Good side-by-side drag race here. Almost identical reaction time. Stanton the winner, 8:99, 150, beats out the 906 at 147. Vortec, Extreme Street on the line. Tony Arts facing Cameron Coble. Good green light start right there. Almost identical reaction times one more time. Eventual winner, Tony Arts, 8:31, 164, beats out Coble's 8:50 at 167. Then Flowmaster Muffler Nostalgia Pro Street. Over in the far lane, the gorgeous Deuce of Rostov going up against Rob Galobo. Oh, what a drag race. Galobo had the whole shot, 4:16. He picks up the victory, 7:67, beats out a 7:69. What a drag race. Then the Nitto Tire Super Street, Brian Markowitz against Dan Millen. No surprise right here. Markowitz had been running really well all day long, cranked out a 7:40, beating Millen's 7:67. Then finally, Denso Iridium Spark Plug Pro Street, Vinny Medano against Brian Robbins. Robbins couldn't stand the pressure, turned on the big red light, giving the automatic win to Vinny, who cranked out a 7:53, 143 miles per hour. And they had some other classes there too. Let's take a look at those winners. Our congratulations go out to Carl Stansel, Joe Ewing, Tom Motika, and David Faraday for winning their respective eliminator categories here at Martin, Michigan. The Performance Tip, professional tips on the latest performance technology available with Big Daddy Don Garland. Items featured on the Performance Tip